Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the You Gots to Do Better edition, brought to you by Beyond the Bell podcast with your host, Blackout Jones. And we're just going to call this the State of Emergency Address, AEW edition. 5 years, 5 years to the day. I remember, and before I get into that, I want you to understand something. This right here, this right here comes into play big time. This is very important in what I'm about to discuss in regards to AEW, because out of this here was the birth of AEW, because there were guys that came out of this group, some that were there longer than others, that decided on January 1st of 2019 that they were going to leave not only Ring of Honor, but not only also New Japan Pro Wrestling to create AEW outside of the Tokyo Dome after Wrestle Kingdom. Understand, very important. And everybody knows, I'm Team AEW. I've been riding and riding and riding with them for 5 long years. But it even goes further back than that. BC, Bullet Club. And I know people going to think, oh, I'm going to fly off the handle and have spit come out my mouth. No, not today. Not today. No. This is going to be a serious matter, if you will. But I remember being a fan of Bullet Club back in 2013. And I came in at a time when Prince Devitt was going out. AJ Styles was coming in. I actually didn't really know about Prince Devitt until a little bit later on, after AJ Styles came into the fold and, of course, attacked Okada and challenged Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. At that time, me knowing AJ Styles, me seeing clips or highlights of him joining Bullet Club, it gained my interest in regards to the group in Japan. And from that point moving forward, hey, I was BC all day. BC everything. Chains, merchandise, shirts, track suits, you name it. And then a little bit later on down the road, of course, with Bullet Club, what did they do? They replaced their leader. Prince Devitt was the first casualty. AJ Styles was the next casualty at New Year's Dash, which is after Wrestle Kingdom for those that don't know. That's like their start over event. We're starting a new season, which then Kenny Omega took over. But we all know it consists of Tama Tonga, Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, the Young Bucks, a host of others in that group. And then later on down the road, Cody Rhodes joins. And we're talking about the Cody Rhodes that was part of WWE. That was, part of, Ted DiBiase Jr. and Randy Orton, at the time, and then Stardust, and then he left. And next thing I know, I see a vignette where, boom, he's Bullet Club. Wow. You know what I mean? Exciting times. And so, hey, he joins Bullet Club. Next thing you know, even before that, New Japan started a relationship with Ring of Honor, and it became a great relationship. And I'm thinking, if I can recall, I think their first event was one of the best in the world events in New York City. I want to say it was at the Hammerstein, if I'm not mistaken, at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Great event. And so then, next thing you know, Bullet Club is on fire. You know what I mean? Ring of Honor is probably having some of the best events, the best, audience, attendance, numbers are high. You know what I mean? You have this joint venture with Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then there was and before I get to that, and then of course you have the so-called Bullet Club Civil War. You know what I mean? The firing squad against Bullet Club, or being the elite, BTE. And then that could have taken off, but it didn't go as it should have. And then towards the end of that, this is when we get in 2018 All In. And the reason why, because there was a bet that was made that, hey, you can't sell out, an arena. You can't sell out a 10,000, 11,000 seat arena. That's unheard of. It hasn't been heard of since besides WWE and at the time WCW/NWA. You can't do it. And what Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and Paige do, went out there and sold out in Chicago. Over 10,000 fans. Successful. Sold out in the first, 30 minutes? Maybe even less than that. Can't really recall. But then, once that occurred, traction. They gained a lot of traction off of that. There was a lot of interest. And next thing you know, lo and behold, like I stated earlier in this segment, January 1st, 2019, on one of the BTE episodes, which, by the way, at one point was one of the greatest episodes that I look forward to see on Mondays at around 1 o'clock. People talk about storylines in AEW and what storylines they don't provide. BET was providing some of the best storylines leading up to, of course, Double or Nothing. Because they had nothing else. But they did such a phenomenal job, in my opinion. So then, like I said, we get to January 1st, 2019. Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, Hangman Page, or Adam Page. They're all standing around with their cell phones out. Midnight strikes. Boom. Double or Nothing shows up on their phones. AEW presents. Wonderful time. Now we have a alternative. I guess you could say third promotion at the time. Because, TNA was still around. They were still doing their thing. And AEW hadn't started yet. So, we're going to say third promotion. And next thing you know, leading up to the event, they had all these, BTE episodes, and it was funny because you had to really look in the background sometimes on the whiteboard and kind of see the matchups and, little nuggets here and there. And you had to kind of pause your video to kind of pay attention to the board and see what's coming and all those things. And it was a great time. It was great. I loved it. And then, of course, AEW was finally introduced right outside of Daly's place, and all the stars came, and Pac showed up, Paige showed up. They got into a scuffle. At the time, Joey Janela, was part of the fold. Chris Jericho came out there, which at the time was the biggest star. The crossover. To be in AEW. And the ball was rolling. You know what I mean? They were taking off. In a great way. And then, of course, they met in Vegas, to kind of, I think that's when Sammy Guevara showed up, and, they introduced him, and, they started, kind of getting the storylines together, and, there was some back and forth, with some of the competitors for Double or Nothing at the time. I even like the fact that, there was a mystery on who Cody was going to fight. You never saw who it was, but when they showed it, Cody versus whoever, it was blurred out, until the very end. Of course, BTE episodes, which provided, like I said, a great storyline and whatnot. I mean, I hope I'm not boring nobody with this, but kind of taking this a little serious. I just want to go down memory lane, So then it was time. The date was set. And if anybody doesn't know, I bought most of my shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees, as you can see. But this shirt I have on is very significant, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the owner of Pro Wrestling Tees, he was doing somewhat of a raffle, and it basically had to go to, well, how many orders, did you place during a year or whatnot. And those are the people that were going to be chosen to win tickets to Double or Nothing. The first front, I think it was the first 4 rows. Might have been 5, I'm not sure. But we all got these shirts made for us personally so that we can be a Double or Nothing and show with our shirts. And when you look at Double or Nothing, the very first one, you'll see all of us in the front row. So of course, you know, you had to kind of do, he gave you some instructions to go through and to, and for you to follow those instructions. So hey, I followed those instructions to the T. Next thing I know, I got an email from him saying, hey, don't tell nobody, but you one of the people that got tickets, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? And for this amount, so it was kind of like a discount in a way. Still had to pay for it. And of course, you still had to pay for your flights. And I was very excited. And then next thing he's like, yeah, I got shirts made for everybody, what I'm saying, who got the tickets, which ended up being this. And then in the back, it says, I got these seats because I bought so many, shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees. So then, boom, got my ticket, got my flight. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into that, but that was it was somewhat of a debacle, but it ended up, panning out. And I brought one of my friends with me at the time, and we're still my friend to this day. And got to Vegas. Enjoyed Vegas, man, and then the event came. And first, this was kind of like my first time actually going actually to a startup promotion, where this is their first event ever. I wanted to be a part of it because I saw the potential, like I said, the alternative, at the time. And at the time it was the alternative. And the reason being because that other company, at the time they do what they do, but you can kind of tell that it was falling off, because of their owner, at the time. And everybody was kind of looking for something fresh, something new. Now, of course, the diehards, hey, they're gonna ride just like I'm riding, what I'm saying, with AEW. Pause. As my brothers will say. But yeah, but during this time, mind you, my wife is literally 8 months pregnant. Really going on 9 months pregnant. Because my daughter was at the time was due or was supposed to be due on June 18th, right on Father's Day. So, my wife gave me her blessing and she was like, hey, I know this is exciting for you. Go ahead and go. I'll be all right. But but be on standby just in case. And all I did was tell her, man, just don't walk nowhere. Don't walk around, don't do nothing. Just chill. So yeah, got to the event. Um, and this right here that I have behind me, this shirt, yeah, as you can see, I was there. Yeah, for sure. And on top of that, your boy was really there. Yeah, yeah. So, Double or Nothing, great event, packed, sold out. John Moxley shows up, new era. You know what I mean? And I saw what the vision was going to be. But of course, sometimes with visions, some people can kind of get off the path of that vision. And this is why I had to do this episode, because I continually see that whatever the vision was is not to be right now. Can they get back to that vision? They can, but the problem is you're doing so much damage to your brand that people may not even want to even care about the vision of AEW, because you continue. I'm talking to TK. There's one thing to take care of your brand. There's one thing to fight for your brand, but there's a way to do it. And the way to do it is to continue putting out the best product. to continue booking the best product and not worrying about someone else's product. Definitely others that are no longer with the product. There's no point. It is what it is. And for you to allow an individual to bring out the worst in you, that tells me a lot about your character. It tells me a lot about your personality. That you don't know how to block the noise and stay on the path. Stay with the vision. Now, yeah, we have a lot of WWE fans. We have a lot of AEW fans. We have a lot of tribalism. We have, oh, well, AEW, they're not doing this or they're not doing that. You know what I mean? Or WWE, yeah, they wasn't, they wasn't doing well either at one point. You know what I mean? So, I mean, how did we get here? You know, a lot of factors into it, but I talked about that on the last episode. Well, we talked about that on the last episode. But let me kind of, dial back a little bit. I don't know where this angle is going to go. But I know it didn't help when you have your let me get to this real quick because it has to be done. It doesn't help when your owner who has a chance to promote his brand on a national stage. We're talking about the NFL draft. And you just somehow decide to say this and he quotes, not I quote. We're up against a really evil juggernaut. WWE is our competitor. That's who we are facing. AEW is like the Pepsi of pro wrestling. And WWE is like the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. You didn't mention one thing about your champion, Swerve Strickland. You didn't mention about Will Ospreay. You didn't mention about Okada, Takeshita, and all the other stars that are part of AEW. So you allowed the evil juggernaut to get the best of you instead of selling your product. The names that I mentioned, most people may not even know who they are. And guess what? They still not going to know who they are. Why? Because you did not promote and sell your brand when you had the chance to. See, it's different when you go on these podcasts. Not everybody watch those podcasts. It's different when you throw out little tweets here and on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But they're not. A lot of people may not be paying attention to that because they don't know who you are. But when you're in front of millions and millions of people that are viewing in because it's the NFL draft, and you sitting here with a neck brace, first of all, they try to figure out why do you have the neck brace on? So they probably went and looked for that. Why does he have a neck brace? And then they pull up like maybe they might say Tony Khan has a neck brace on. Boom, a video pops up. Oh, let me see what happened. Well, what's this? I mean, I know wrestling, but I haven't heard of AEW. Who are these guys? The Young Bucks. Who is Okada? You had a chance to promote and sell your brand, and you dropped the ball. At this point, you can't put blame on the other guy. See, the difference between me and you, I'm not going to mention him. I don't have no reason to mention him. I don't have no reason to mention about the other company right now because this ain't that company's edition. This is AEW's edition. This is a state of emergency of this company, of this product. I could have sold this product better than you. Anybody could have sold this product better than you, but you didn't. You failed. And as an owner, that's unacceptable. It has to come to a point where you have to realize, take care of your house, take care of your home. Don't worry about outside noise. Take care of your foundation, because without your foundation, and when your foundation crumbles, then what do you have? Because once the foundation crumbles, nobody outside is going to help you. And that's what you have to understand. You got to take care of your home. You got to take care of your foundation first. Build your product. I mean, I'm to a point now where PR, whoever runs PR, don't even let you talk. Don't even run up at the mouth. Don't even say anything. Don't mention anything. Let someone else handle it, because evidently your PR skills are terrible, are of the worst kind that I've ever seen. Even with Vince, and I'm going to say Vince, even with Vince, when he was going through the Monday Night Wars and he was, it was, I'm going to say it because we all know. I know I said I wasn't going to say it, but fuck it. I'm going to say it. When it was WWE and WCW going head to head, you know how Vince handled it? Easy. He didn't say nothing. He just booked it. That's how he handled things. He booked what he needed to book. That's how he handled it. That's when he used it. That's when he ran off at the mouth. That was his talking point, to put out the best product possible to go up against WCW, which in turn, WCW, what they do? Run off at the mouth, talking about the other competitor, calling out what's going to happen on a Monday Night Raw, because we all knew Monday Night Raw wasn't live, which that ended up being the downfall. Hello? Hello? McFly, hello? Yeah. Yeah. They ended up being their downfall because they thought they was being smarter than the average bear. And he wasn't. Not at all. And we saw what happened. And they ain't never been back since. You would have thought, TK, with you being the big wrestling fan that you are, that you would see that and you would understand that and you would know not to do that. But you're doing it. Now, you ain't the only one to blame for this. Not at all. Cody Rhodes, he's to blame too, because let's go back May 25th, 2019. Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Cody's entrance. Triple H's throne. Triple H's sledgehammer. And what does he do? Takes the sledgehammer to the throne and basically says, this is the new era of professional wrestling. And what Brandy Rhodes say, because I've seen that too, hit that S. She was just as much in it as he was. But of course, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, ride with your spouse. And every week after that, once we got on television, every week, it was something about WWE. And speaking of television, was it October 2nd? I believe. Was it October 2nd, 2020? If I believe. Let me check here. So I want to make sure I give y'all, the information that you need. Well, October 2nd, 2019. The first show. And you know what the first match was? Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. Fantastic match. I think it was in Washington, D.C., if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that was the first the AEW tournament for the tag team championships. Private Party pulls off the upset against the Young Bucks. You will see in the beginning of an era, a new era. Now look at us. There was a point, even during COVID, you found a way to even have crowds in there, which of course, they were part of the staff and most of them were wrestlers or whatnot, but still, it felt like an event. Bravo. I still think that was phenomenal for what we were going through. Where's that at? Where's that AEW that cared about the fans, that cared about the product, that cared about the new era of professional wrestling, excuse me. Where is that at? Dang, I got so excited. I didn't hit that up. You know what I mean? Where's that at? Where's that brand? So what? Cody is gone. Okay. That's fine. We appreciate his contributions to the product and to the brand. Where's the vision? Where did you get blinded? When did you start wearing blinders? TK and everyone else involved. There's no reason that AEW should be in this position with who they have backstage. It's either they don't care or you don't listen. One of the two. Because we should not be in this position. Now, in regards to storylines and things of that nature, man, look, they're the alternative. You know what I mean? This is what they alternatively do. They'll have a storyline here and there, and that's cool. You know what I mean? Every match can't be a storyline. Yeah, some matches don't make sense. All right. There's a lot of promotions out here where they have matches that don't make sense. But you got to put a card together. You got to have somebody fighting somebody. You can't just, if we're going by storyline and shit, all we're going to have is 3 matches. And that's it. If everything has to be storyline. So, but that's for another day. This last one though, just with the whole footage from All In, I mean, I went to Revolution. Me and Carlito Cannon, we went to Revolution. Sting's last match. One of their greatest pay-per-views. And a pay-per-view that should have started off the year with a bang. We come away from that pay-per-view. The first Dynamite afterwards. Great show. Optics. Looking better. Second week. Great show. I'm like, okay, that man must have figured something out. Or he got somebody on the team that's like, hey, we need to do this, that, and the third. And then all of a sudden, a total effing collapse. Because some guy who had an interview with some guy was talking about AEW. And what does TK do? What he always does. See, understand something. See, I like the TK that had the glasses and the short hair. This guy here with the beard and don't shave and got the hair everywhere with no glasses, man, it's 2 different people, but it's one person. That dude, he had the vision. This dude don't give 2 shits about nothing but himself. Selfish. Don't get you nowhere. I know if I was part of the talent, I'd be rolling my eyes every day. Here we go again. Just when we take 2 steps forward, we taking 14 steps back. And shit, I wouldn't blame some of them if hell, I'm just here because, man, I know I'm getting paid and I ain't got to do much. I ain't got to travel 362 days out the year. 350. Why not? Why not take that change? I would. I'm not saying they're not passionate about what they do, but they ain't stupid either. But back to TK, you get sensitive. All of a sudden, you want to show something that happened 8 months ago. Man, nobody don't care about that, man. Let it go. Just like that guy. He could have let it go too. Really, he couldn't even have to answer. Really, he couldn't. He didn't really have to answer. He could have pulled the Cody Rhodes and be like, "Hey, hey, I enjoyed my time. I don't have no ill will. I don't do this." But we all know that guy ain't like that. We know he ain't built like that. He ain't never built like that. Whether it's AEW, whether it was WWE, whether it was TNA, it don't matter. Whoever hurt his feelings, he gonna have something to say. Because that's just how he rolls. You know what I'm saying? I expect nothing less from that guy. But you allow that guy to get the best of you. And then, okay, you show a footage. Then you show the footage. All I'm thinking about is I don't really care about who shoved who and who did what. First of all, no audio. Can't even hear what's going on. And then I see you. I see your little arm hanging out. Your little arm with your little suit, with your little shirt, with your little whatever. Yeah. And you say you was in a fear for your life? I guess you wasn't thinking 8 months later of what you said 8 months ago. Look, man, if you're gonna lie about something, make sure you stick to the lie. Make sure you remember your lie. Because if you can't, then buddy, you in the wrong business of telling lies. So we see the footage. Then after that, you have this excuse on why you showed the footage. Oh, because the Young Bucks and FTR, or the Young Bucks couldn't beat FTR, and they wasn't their minds wasn't in the game. Man, stop. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Your best bet, you could have just came out there and said, "Look, we done lost 2 in a row. You know what I'm saying? They got our number. You know what I mean? That's been messing with us. You know what I'm saying? For however long, for 8 months." I done went with that. But the fact that you actually showed the footage and it didn't do nothing but harm you in the match. Now, as far as Jack Perry is concerned, it seemed like it helped him. Seemed like people cheering him. Uh, Windy City Riot, New Japan, hey, they were rocking with him. Merch sold out, scapegoat shirts sold out. Shit, it seemed like it helped him more than it helped. Man, it helped him more than it helped AEW, the Young Bucks, and the FTR match. When that man came out at Dynasty, that man got a pop. I watch all different angles of when he jumped the barrier, and they were losing their ass. So it worked out for him. Made you look goofy, still look goofy, and then and then the Dynamite after Dynasty. What in the fuck did we get? We got the best friends opening up the show. Who cares? I care less about Trent Beretta. I care less about Chucky T. I care less about Orange Cassidy. The only reason why I say I care less about Orange Cassidy, because that whole segment, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And you were just part of something that nobody cared about. Nobody cared. That segment should have never took place. If it did, it should have been in the middle of the show. What should have took place was a celebration for the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the first African American AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Now I know, I know folks like him, folks don't like him. I understand. I get all that. You know what I mean? No disrespect to that. I respect it. Respect everyone's opinion on how they feel about Swerve Strickland. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that he's the first AEW African American World Heavyweight Champion. That's who should have been opening the show. And it had to be a bunch of pump and circumstances. None of that. It had to be a big thing, you know. But it should have happened. The champion shouldn't even been in the match with Kyle Fletcher, who ain't won a match on Dynamite since October of 2023. Now he don't want a Ring of Honor, but that ain't this ain't Ring of Honor. He shouldn't even got a shot at even being in an elimination match for the AEW championship. But your champion shouldn't even wrestle. Samoa Joe didn't wrestle. When he beat MJF, he got his promo in, all suited and booted. Previous champions before that have had their time. But no, what we get? We get Willow Nightingale. And I love Willow. Willow, I love you. Think you're great. I've been with you since day one. I definitely like when you do this. Dun, 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 bow. You know what I mean? I love that shit. That shit cool as motherfucker. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? I love it. You know. But this should have happened first. Swerve when I drive. That should have happened first. And then Jericho, man, just go away. At this point, just go away. I respect everything that you've done in this industry. You have evolved tremendously. Hey, you're on the list and Lionheart and even the Jericho that came out there and just didn't say nothing to nobody. Even the Jericho with the jacket, you know what I mean? The light up jacket. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. But this shit got to stop. Every time, man, you have to have a stable. I swear, you're the one person that's had more stables than anybody ever in life. And they don't pan out to nothing. These stables don't pan out to anything. And then you have a belt that, where is that belt, by the way? I should have brought that belt in here for that segment. But anyway, the FTW Championship, the learning tree. I care less. It should be the burning tree. And get out of here. Like, seriously, you should be doing something. I know you're probably doing something backstage, and that's fine. Managerial role, hey, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? But to still be in the position that you're in, doing the same thing you've been doing since you stepped foot into AEW, which is having a stable. And the thing is, reason why I say, and if anybody's like, well, no, I know other people that have had different stables and that. No. I ain't talking about the same name. We've had plenty of Four Horsemen stables, but guess what? They always stayed the Four Horsemen. This man that had 3 different names. You don't even know what stable is which. You know what I'm saying? That's what there's no point no more. If you leave and if you go away, I'm good with that. You've done everything, but the times have gone by now. It's over. It's over. It's 5 years now. We needed you for the first 2, maybe 3. No, first 2. Definitely the first year. You know, we had to put the championship on you. Why? Because it was notable. You were a superstar. You know what I mean? That came from WWE. You know, you were the man. But now you're just in the way. And for all you Jerichoholics out there, if you feel any different, yeah, well, I really don't care. I don't. You know, as Jack Perry would say, cry me a river. But the show was a complete shit show. It was a complete shit show. And then what you did last night on Collision should have been done on Dynamite. Swerve Strickland coming out to the ring and talk his talk. You know what I mean? And maybe you did that to try to get numbers during the playoffs. I don't know, because it was definitely during the Lakers and, or I think it was right before the Lakers and Nuggets, or actually during the Lakers and Nuggets. That's another thing. Why you put them on during that time for? Like, come on, bro. Seriously? Fucking think. Think. Jesus. The problem is, TK, you don't need to be a booker. You really don't. People are saying, well, he shouldn't be a booker, this, that, and third. He ain't never did it before. Yeah, that's like telling somebody you ain't never been a head coach when they become a head coach. You got to start somewhere. Now, if you prosper, fantastic. If you fail, okay. But you got to start somewhere. He started somewhere. He ain't really done a great job. Now, there's some things he may have done great on. We don't know. You know, I'm not saying everything's been all bad, but I think truly you need to go hire Scott D'Amore. You need to bring him into the fold, and you need to have hands off and let that man cook. Let him right the ship. Let him bring the vision back to what AEW was back on January 1st of 2019, back on May 25th of 2019, back on October 2nd of 2019. There's nothing wrong with that. Done good. 5 years. Done a lot. Sold out a lot. Had great pay-per-views. Hell, you went to Wembley Stadium and nobody thought you can do it. Great pay-per-views. But sometimes there's nothing wrong with sitting back and letting others who've been in this business longer than you and not as a fan that can help you and put you in the position that you need to be in. PR wise, shut your ass up. Please. Because you killing it. You killing it, bro. Like, you really need to chill. Don't let me. Is you soft? Like, I mean, I gotta know. Are you a soft? Are you soft? Because this is what soft people do. They get in their feelings for no reason, for somebody that ain't even that's not even in your company anymore. Like I said earlier, there's nothing wrong fighting for your brand. There's nothing wrong supporting your brand. There's nothing wrong in believing in your brand. But there's ways to go about it. And allowing him to allow you to get in your feelings, that ain't the way to go about it. To sit here during the NFL draft and talk about WWE and talk about how they're the evil juggernaut and talk about how they're the Harvey Weinstein of professional wrestling, instead of talking about your employees, your wrestlers, your AEW World Heavyweight Champion, your TBS champion, Willow Nightingale, your tag team champions, the Young Bucks, your international champion, Roderick Strong, the fact that John Moxley is the IWGP heavyweight champion in AEW, part of the AEW roster, that's not how you go about it. You know, I never really like to say this, you know, that whole make America great again thing. But I hope you can make AEW great again, because I know how I am. After a while, the support is going to get it's going to get a little sidetracked. I'm still going to be with you, but I can also suspend you. And can also put you on the back burner. Ask WWE. Ask them. I did the same thing into the bloodline. Why? Because you was insulting my intelligence. And you weren't giving what we want. You weren't giving the people what they want. You weren't giving us fans what we wanted. Yeah, you came out there and you talked that talk. I remember Stephanie was out there. Triple H was out there. Vince was out there. I forgot who else was out there. It might have been Shane. And they had this whole spell of, we're going to give what you want. We hear you. We listen to you. We do this, that, and the third. And then, you know, it still was the same thing. You know, were there times that they did? Yeah. You know, Brian Danielson. Yeah. They gave us what we wanted. You know, I'm not saying they didn't, but majority of the time they didn't. But AEW, you got to get back to what you were doing. You got to get back to the vision. You got to promote your brand and promote your wrestlers. Don't worry about the others. That's what got WCW in trouble. That's what sometimes get these other promotions in trouble. Look, I even know this, and now we really know this. Even during the Vince era, you wasn't gonna beat Vince. I don't care how much you did. You can get there. You can be number two. You know what I'm saying? You weren't gonna be 1B, but you was definitely gonna be close. You just mind your business and do what you supposed to do, and don't worry about what's going on over here. You know what I'm saying? Or trying to be in competition and worried about NXT, man. Don't look. NXT, don't worry about NXT. Don't worry about WWE. Worry about AEW. Take care of your home, take care of your house, take care of your foundation. But if you continue on this path of destruction, then the numbers that you so-called care about, the ratings that you so-called care about, and that you only talk about when they are wherever they are, instead of focusing on what it is, then I give you maybe another 5 because you got money, maybe 6 more years. I don't want it to end. It shouldn't end. It gives everyone, it gives other wrestlers out here opportunity to apply their craft and to continue applying their craft. But if you continue down this road, this is what it's going to be because you're not going to beat WWE. You never will. Competition, no competition. And now we got Trips running it. Man, just worry about what you're doing. Work on TV rights, work on streaming service, work on the things that matter for AEW. Don't worry about what they're doing over there around the corner on the next block. They do what they do. We need to do what we need to do. You need to make it happen. So with that being said, this your boy Blackout Jones, Carolina Wrestling Cartel, Beyond the Bell, iconic as we always are. Signing off. Man, I love everybody out here, man. I appreciate y'all. Um, hopefully I ain't got to do this. Hopefully I don't have to do this again. Ever. But I appreciate it. Hey, real fans, man, we out here. Wrestling Chop Shop, we out here. Ashley Jones, satisfied? Shit. Peace out.